Hey guys, it's Haley and welcome to another bookish video. So before we even get into it, you can probably tell by my voice, I am ill. I actually have COVID right now. I know like everybody on earth does.
It's not unique. It doesn't make me quirky. I know.
This is like, I feel like we're back in March 2020, but yeah, I have COVID. I went 2 years in the pandemic being fine. And now I've been sick for like 3 weeks straight. So you know what? It's fine. We're here. I'm trying to make the most of it. My symptoms aren't that bad. I'm feeling better. So I decided that today I felt well enough to finally film my December wrap up. Just bear with me with my sick and congested voice for the moment. But yeah, that's what we're doing today, is going over the 16 books that I read last month. And I'll give you all my reviews, all my recommendations. I read a lot, and a lot of stuff that was not on my December TBR. So it's just a whole bag of surprises in store for you today. But before we get into the books, this video is kindly sponsored yet again by Dossier. Thank you so much to them yet again. If you missed my last video talking about them, Dossier is a perfume brand that is super affordable, and they are actually known for their designer fragrance dupes for a super great price without sacrificing any quality. They also are completely vegan, don't test on animals at all. So let me show you a couple perfumes that they have. They come in these cute little boxes like this, and you have a card all about your perfume, as well as the perfume in there. As you can see, it's a huge bottle and it smells exactly like what it's supposed to. Like, this one is inspired by Le Labo's Santal 33, which I know is super popular right now. But on the Dossier site, it is called Woody Sandalwood, and it literally smells just like it. Wish I could smell it right now, but I can't. And another super popular one that they have is YSL Black Opium, which they call Florential Vanilla. It's inspired by YSL Black Opium
Eau du Parfum, or however you say that.
And y'all, this smells literally identical. And I think this one, at least it was on sale for a little while for like $29, but their perfumes range in prices from like $29 to like $59. And when you compare that to the original or what it's inspired by, I mean, you gotta save a lot of coin by shopping on Dossier. Like, I wanna smell this so bad. I'm so sad that I can't smell right now because this literally smells exactly like Black Opium. So good, they last all day. And it's literally a quarter of the price. Like, I can't believe it. You're not sacrificing any quality at all. And something super cool that they just recently came out with is candles with the same scent, which I think is awesome. So here I have the Florential Vanilla Black Opium candle. It's really strong. Like, this is about to permeate my whole house, and I really want the Santal one as well. So I know that's gonna be my next purchase. Y'all should definitely check them out. Just like last time, I will have them linked down below. I hope you guys check them out. And again, thank you so much to Dossier for sponsoring this part of the video. Now let's go ahead and get into the stats for my December wrap up. Let me just get my laptop here. By the way, I had people asking where this was from. This is just from Amazon. It was like $15.99. So yeah, super cheap, clear laptop case. But my stats for December. I read 16 books for a total of 3,843 pages. So not that many pages for the amount of books. I read a lot of novellas, but the moods are pretty standard for me, mysterious, tense, and dark. But this month I did have 4 lighthearted and 4 emotional books thrown in because it was the holidays, it was the Christmas season. I needed some of that lighthearted joy. I read 10 fast-paced books, 2 slow, and 3 medium. I read 8 books in between 300 and 500 pages, and then 7 under 300 pages. I read all fiction books in the month of December, and in December, my top genre was actually contemporary romance, which was really surprising to me. I didn't feel like I read that much romance. And then thriller, mystery, horror, all of the stuff that usually comes along. And this is kind of how my reading went throughout the month. You can see like on the 10th through the 12th was when I started feeling kind of sick, and that's where my reading took a turn. And then it's like very, like I would only finish a book every couple days. And as for my ratings, my average rating for the month was a 3.94, which is pretty high, almost a 4. I had one 1-star book, 3 3-stars, 1 3.5 star, 5 4 stars, a 4.5 star, and 5 5-star books. Then I just have a few last stats that are not generated by Storygraph that I just wanted to share with you like I do every month. As for the age range, I read 3 YA books, 1 new adult book, and 12 adult books. And how I read these books was 4 via audio, 3 via ebook, and then 9 physically. And as for my author stats, I read 5 books by male identifying authors, and the rest of the 11 were by female identifying authors. And 2 of the books that I read this month were by people of color. So that's all the stats. Let's go ahead and get into what you came here for, reviews of the 16 books I read in December. There's a plane, just hold, please hold for a moment. So we're gonna start out just like always from my lowest rated book and work our way up to the 5 stars. This was my 1-star book that I read last month, The Woods Are Always Watching by Stephanie Perkins. And I don't wanna go on and on about this because number 1, I think this book is horrible. And number 2, I've ranted about it for about 20 minutes already on my channel. So this was in my worst books of 2021 video. And I also have like a whole long rant in a vlog about it. So I'll link the rant up above. And then I'll also put my worst books of 2021 down below if you missed it. I rant all about this YA thriller and how the feminism that it was trying to capture just really fell flat and was pretty insulting in my eyes. I would not want somebody in young adult age to read this and think that it was empowering, because it was actually the opposite of empowering in my opinion. The characters were insufferable, and I'm not even gonna give you a synopsis. Sorry to start out on such a sour note. I just fucking hated that book. Now let's move into the 3-star books that I read this month. Starting off with The Visitor by Sergio Gomez. I read this one also in my wintry holiday reading vlog. And this is a horror novella about a bunch of people who get snowed in like a rest stop diner place. And they are haunted by this visitor that starts picking them off one by one. And I really did enjoy this book. I wish, however, my expectations were different going in. I think if I would have known that there was a more sci-fi horror element in this book, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But unfortunately, I did not know that. So I went in thinking it was like a traditional slasher, and I kind of had to adjust halfway through. And since it's such a short book, by the time I adjusted, the book was like already almost over. So I'm kind of sad about that I didn't get my full enjoyment out of it. But I really did like a lot of the characters, how the action played out. And of course, I love Sergio Gomez's writing. I think he's a really talented author. So there you go. I also got on a Kirsten Magdalene kick. It's been happening for the past few months. Every time I feel a little bit slumpy, I will just go on Kindle Unlimited and read a Kirsten Magdalene thriller, and all of a sudden I'm like,
I'm back, baby. I'm ready to read.
So this month I ended up picking up A Stranger in the Woods by Kirsten Magdalene, and this is a novella. Mochi's getting a drink of water, just one moment. This is a thriller novella about a woman who is driving along and she sees this guy who seems kind of like muddy and disheveled on the side of the road. And she's like,
I probably shouldn't pull over, but like, maybe this man needs help. I don't know. I don't want him to die here.
So she pulls over and she's like,
hi, sir. Like, are you good? Were you in an accident?
And he's like,
yeah, I actually think I was, but I don't really know because I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. I have amnesia. Nothing is clicking. Help me.
So she's like,
is this a scam or is this real? I don't know, but I'm just gonna try to be a good person, get some good karma, hop on in the back, I'm gonna take you to the hospital.
And while she's at the hospital with him, they're trying to figure out, first of all, what happened. Second of all, who the hell this man is. Because like there's no wallet on him. Nobody even knows who he is. And they kind of form this bond while they're doing that. So she ends up taking him in and helping him get on his feet and try to figure out who he is. And as you're figuring out who he is, a lot of just secrets come out of the woodwork. Like there's a lot of weird twists that I did not see coming. And just because I didn't see them coming doesn't mean they necessarily worked for me. This was definitely my least favorite Kirsten Moglen book that I've read so far. I thought it was a pretty average thriller. Some of the twists just didn't work out. And because it was such a short novella, I feel like it wasn't super fleshed out and it was just really surface level. So some of the twists that I feel like would have hit harder if I would have gotten to know these characters were a little flat. So I ended up giving it a 3-star, pretty average. If you need to just read something quick and spooky for like a readathon or something, maybe pick this up. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't the best. And the last 3-star book that I read in December was What Light by J. Asher. This is a YA contemporary romance about a girl whose family owns a Christmas tree farm in Oregon, and every year they pack up the car, move to
California, or is it the other way around? They're from, or they live in Oregon, they go to California, or they live in California, they go to Oregon? I don't remember, but one of those combinations.
I'm delirious from my fever. It's fine. They go to this little town to sell their Christmas trees for the Christmas season. And while she's there, she meets this guy who she immediately falls for. It's about their love story, knowing that it does have an expiration date when she will eventually have to move back. And I thought it was cute. It was definitely very like Christmassy holiday vibes, which I appreciated, but there were just a couple elements that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. The way that our main character's dad was acting, I didn't like. And then some aspects of our male love interest, I don't even know how to describe it. They were just like, I was thinking to myself as I was reading, like, girl, maybe this isn't a deal breaker for you, but personally, that's a red flag. So I wasn't the biggest fan of our male love interest, but overall, it was a pretty average YA contemporary. I gave it a 3-star. The 3.5-star book that I read this month was Our Little Secret by Kirsten Moglen. This is a domestic thriller, and I barely remember what this book is about. I read it while I was in the throes of an illness, and I just needed something like entertaining to keep my mind off of how miserable I was feeling. So I just needed like a quick and dirty domestic thriller about like moms gossiping with each other. And now I'm realizing I don't know what happened. Like, I'm really racking my brain for a synopsis I could give you.
What happened in this book? I mean, no thoughts, head empty.
And I think that's why I gave it a 3.5 star, because I enjoyed it in the moment. It was a little bit better than average because I had a good time reading it. There was nothing that like starkly annoyed me about it, but it definitely wasn't memorable. It was just a fun little time. It was kind of reminding me of like a Megan Miranda book. It reminded me a lot of Such a Quiet Place, except it was a lot more fast-paced and a lot more twisty. So maybe if Such a Quiet Place like didn't quite hit for you, but you still like domestic thrillers and you're looking for something like that that's very like suburban mommy drama, maybe give this one a try. I'm so sorry, it was so forgettable. I literally don't have a synopsis for you. That is very unhelpful, but what can you do? Now let's go ahead and jump into my 4 stars, and there are a lot of them. The first being It Started With a Dog by Julia London. Coughing break, so sorry. And this is the companion novel to You Lucky Dog, also by Julia London, and they are just contemporary romance books about people falling in love because of dogs bringing them together. And they're also set in Austin, Texas, which is where I live. I freaking love where I live. I love dogs and I love romance, so it feels like these books are made for me. This one was so cute and such a quick read. I listened to it on audio, so it was just like such a cute little time. So this romance book was very tropey, and I honestly didn't mind it. It was just like very corny Hallmark romance where our female main character is moving to Austin with this company. She's expanding this like national coffee chain, and it's like this super hip cool coffee shops, which would like honestly go perfect in Austin. And then our male love interest is the guy whose parents own the little mom and pop coffee shop right next door to the place where this big coffee chain is slotted to go. So it's like the whole You've Got Mail kind of thing where they don't find out that they're rivals until like halfway through the story, so the reader knows and they don't, and it's like, oh, how did their love survive? But of course it does, because it's a romance, and it was so Hallmarky and cute, and it was also set around Christmas time, so I felt like I read it at a great time because they were talking about like drinking hot cocoa and coming in from the cold of Austin, Texas that is like 60 degrees, but that's cold for me, and like putting Christmas trees out and things like that. So it was just adorable. And there's also a lot of stuff about dogs. Obviously dogs bring them together. There's such a funny meet cute, and how it happens is just, I don't want to give it away, but it's so cute and funny, and I've never seen a meet cute done like that. So I feel like all of these very tropey, corny romance things were just taken and expanded on a little bit, made a little different, a little more quirky, and it just worked really well for me. It was a great romance. 4 stars. Next, I'm going to run through 3 of the books that I featured in my holiday reading vlogs because I don't like repeating myself. I know y'all don't like hearing me repeat myself. So if you want my in-depth thoughts on these, I will again link those vlogs up above and down below. I will just run through them really quickly. First of all, Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. Super smutty contemporary romance about a felon who just got out of prison and a department store owner who takes a chance on her, hires her to do her window displays. Loved it, 4 stars. Next up, Dying for Christmas by Tammy Cohen. This was a Christmas thriller that took a huge turn about at the halfway point that really caught me off guard. The first half was pretty much 5 star. The last half was a 2 star. So I averaged it out to a 4 star, which I understand is not exactly perfectly average, but it just felt like a 4 star read, okay? Anyway, it's about a girl who gets kidnapped on Christmas Eve, and then her kidnapper gives her gifts during the 12 days of Christmas that escalate in disturbingness and intensity. So read at your own risk. And the last one is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This is an isolated setting, snowy thriller about a couple who is trying to save their marriage by going on this retreat, but everything is not as it seems. Really enjoyed it, gave it a 4 star. Now that we're through with all of those, I can actually talk to you guys about something new. This last 4 star book that I have to talk to you about is Too Late by Colleen Hoover. And this book was a whole ride, okay? This is a dark romance. If you like dark romance, you will like this a lot. So it's basically about a 21 Jump Street kind of situation. There is an undercover cop who is investigating this drug ring going on at a college, and he goes in there to try to bust open this drug ring, and like the drug lord main guy has this girlfriend, and he starts getting involved with her, except she doesn't know that he's an undercover cop, and he sees that the boyfriend slash drug lord is abusing her, so he's kind of trying to save her and help her get out of that, but she's like,
but wait, aren't you a drug dealer? So if I go from a drug dealer to a drug dealer, it's like, it wouldn't really be helping me.
But he's sitting there like, bitch, I'm a cop. But she's like, I don't know, you're a cop. So it is like, I don't know. It's very weird and hard to explain. And obviously it's a pretty thick book, especially for a romance. So a lot goes on It is very, very dark. It is super trigger warning out the wazoo. Make sure you look up the trigger warnings before you read this, because I did not know how dark for romance this was, and safe to say that my dark romance cherry has been popped, because this was a lot, even for me. But I did like most of what was going on. I don't think I like really enjoyed it, but I think I was just very like shocked and entertained by it. So it was more of a 4-star out of, I can't believe what I'm reading. This was so entertaining and I needed to keep flipping pages to see what would happen, rather than a 4-star because I really enjoyed this literary genius. Like, even Colleen Hoover herself did not publish this under Colleen Hoover. She published it under C. Hoover, so it wouldn't be attached to like her other stuff. And there's like 4 different epilogues in here as she like continued the story, and then readers weren't happy with it, so she posted another epilogue, and then readers were like, maybe more, and so she posted another, and it's just like, it's a lot. You get very convoluted backstory. You get a lot of like epilogues and prologues going back, and it's confusing, but it's also really, really interesting to read. So I would say if you are a fan of Colleen Hoover's backlist or a fan of dark romance, pick this one up. It will be what you're looking for, but if you're not, don't go into this, honey. You're not prepared. Next, let's talk about the 4.5-star book that I read this month. That is The Risk by St. Abbey, and this is the first book in the Mindfuck series. Now, I don't want to give any spoilers for my January wrap-up, but as of today, I have completed the series, all 5 books, because I had to know, okay, I had to know what was happening, and I was absolutely enthralled in the series. I freaking love this series, so maybe try this first one. If it's not for you, continue, because the first one for me was a 4.5. It was not a 5-star book. I loved the concept, loved the characters, but it felt like a little bit too short and the execution was meh. The rest of the series, it gets better. So just know that going in. But this book is super short. It's only 100 pages on Kindle Unlimited, and it is a serial killer romance. It reminded me a lot of The Girl in 6E, so if you're a fan of this series back here, you will also love the Mindfuck series. We are following Lana, who is a revenge killer. Something really, really horrifying happened to her many years ago, which we don't know exactly what it is at first. We just know that she is killing off all of the people that were associated with it in order to exact her revenge. The issue is, along the way, she falls in love with the FBI agent who is assigned to her case. Very dramatic, very intriguing, very suspend your disbelief, okay? You are not going to go into this thinking, oh, this is a real life story. You need to go into this thinking, oh, this is magical, fantastical craziness that is going to be really fun and entertaining and smutty and gory and all the things that Hailey loves. So with that being said, I really enjoyed it, but like I said in the beginning, this first one, although I was like absolutely in love with the concept and the characters, it just felt a tad teeny tiny bit rushed in the first one. But as you get to know the characters throughout this series, it gets better and better, and this first one was a 4.5, but later in the series, you'll just see. You'll see. In my January wrap-up, you'll see. Finally, before my voice completely gives out, let's get into my last 5 books of the month, which are all 5-star reads, starting with Evidence of the Affair by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is a super short novella told in letters back and forth between 2 people whose spouses are cheating on them with each other. So this wife finds letters from another woman in her husband's like stuff, and she's like,
oh my God, my husband's cheating on me.
And she tracks down the woman who he's cheating with and reaches out to her husband and says,
hey, I know the position you're in exactly, and I just want to let you know.
And then they start writing letters back and forth, sharing secrets, sharing what's going on in both of the partners' lives, and things go in a direction that I did not see coming, but I absolutely loved, especially the ending. Oh my God, just the way that Taylor Jenkins Reid can so quickly endear you to characters and have you invested in their journey and then completely shock the shit out of you at the end never ceases to amaze me. I freaking love Taylor Jenkins Reid. Every single one of her books, I think, that I've read has been 5 stars. No, not maybe in another life, but literally every single other one. 5 stars, and this one is no exception. Next, I have another novella to tell you about, and that is The Deal of a Lifetime by Frederick Bachman. I read this on Christmas night, and it's just about being grateful, really, and being aware of what you have and that it is precious. This was like a very morally driven story about an estranged father and son who finally have a conversation after years and years and years, and the dad kind of has to decide if he's going to make this deal and sacrifice his life for somebody who he thinks would live a life better than he could in the last remaining years of his life. So it's very heartwarming, very touching. It has that signature Bachman writing style that just clicks with me. So I absolutely loved it. It was super quick, yet super, super endearing. This was kind of like Evidence of the Affair, where it's like, how did I get attached to these characters so quickly? I don't know, but I was really, really rooting for them, and I did tear up at some parts of this, so I really loved it. Next, I just quickly want to mention The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. I read this one also in my holiday reading vlog. It's a super fluffy romance, kind of like the book version of The Princess Switch, where these two twins end up switching places and falling in love with the men in each other's lives. And I really loved it. Like, I was gonna not give this 5 stars, but I just freaking loved it so much. Everything worked for me that I said in that vlog, I'm like, what the hell? Fuck it. I'm gonna give it 5 stars. What are you gonna do? Cancel me for enjoying a fluffy romance? No, this is 5 stars, okay? So that's all I gotta say. And these last 2 books were my favorites of the month. My second favorite of the month was Us Against You by Frederick Bachman. This is the follow-up to Beartown by Frederick Bachman, which was one of my favorite reads of 2020. And the sequel was just as emotional. It follows the aftermath of Beartown, and obviously I don't want to give a synopsis because if you haven't read Beartown, I don't want to give away what's going on, but it's kind of the little hockey town picking themselves back up and moving on from the tragedy that happened in the first book. And you get to see different perspectives for how everyone is handling it and how everyone is moving on, if they're moving on. And oh my God, it was just heart-wrenching, emotional, beautifully written, wonderful commentary. I really cannot say enough good things about this book. And I really want to have a discussion about Beartown and Us Against You. I don't know if anyone else has read both of those, but if you have, in the comments, let me know what you thought. I would love to discuss these with you because obviously I don't want to get into spoilers in this video, but it sucks when you enjoy sequels so much because I feel like I can't say much about it. Reach out to me, DM me if you have thoughts, we will talk. And my top favorite book that I read in December was actually a complete surprise. This totally blew me away. It was 14 Ways to Die by Vincent Ralph. And this is a YA thriller, y'all. This is a YA thriller written by a man. How did I enjoy this so much? How was this my favorite book of the month? I don't know, but it was. It just caught me off guard. Like, I don't know. It was like such a split-second decision to even pick it up. Like, me and my mom were in Target and she was like, oh my God, let's look at the books. And I was like, yes, it's always queen. And so we both just like picked up a random book and I was like, whatever, like I'll just stop what I'm reading as soon as I got home from Target. Literally started reading this and I was like, wait, why is this really, really good? And then all of a sudden, it became one of my favorite books. Like, I'm super surprised. Y'all know I never love YA thrillers. This is the exception. As you can see from this little tagline, it says, 1 killer, 13 victims, 1 million views. That just sucked me in immediately. So basically, it's following this girl who books apart on a reality show, kind of. It's like a reality show on YouTube. So these people are streaming their lives on YouTube. Like, it's like a live stream, and people watch it like a reality show, and they're only picking like super interesting people. So the reason why our main character got chosen was because her mother was the first victim of like this very infamous serial killer who has never been caught, called the Magpie Man. And he is still killing. He has 13 victims so far, and she's kind of putting herself out there saying,
come and get me, finish the job, I can be your 14th victim.
And so people are watching this killer stalk her on the internet, and like, she's blowing up, she's going viral, but at the same time, she's like taunting this killer just so she can try to catch him. And it reminded me so much of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. If you like A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, you need to run and pick this up right now, because our main character, I would venture to say that I enjoyed her more than Pip, and I liked the like reality show element way more than I liked the podcast element in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So if you like those books, you will definitely love this one. The twist at the end, again, was very similar to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and it caught me off guard just the same. Even though I've read something so similar, it still hit really great. So I don't know how this came out of the woodwork and surprised me like that, but it did, and I'm super happy that I picked it up on a whim. 5 stars. All right. My voice is dead, and it is getting super dark outside, so let's go ahead and end the wrap up here. I hope you guys enjoyed watching and getting some book reviews. Hopefully you got a couple recommendations from this video. Thank you again for Dossier for sponsoring this video. You guys check them out down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!